All right, welcome back to Problem Solving Politics. I am your host, Cardinellis, with Cody the Oracle.
Hey, everybody.
And Andrew Yang is weighed in. He hath opined on impeachment. And apparently, he's changed his tune a little bit, now calling it a big loser. Cody, what's going on?
Yeah. Well, in the past, Andrew Yang has kind of moved a little bit on his impeachment stance. I mean, basically, he followed Nancy Pelosi. When Nancy Pelosi said we're not going to impeach, he said we shouldn't be impeaching. And then when Nancy Pelosi said we will, he's like, okay, maybe we should, which is politically smart. But interview a couple days ago, Andrew Yang on impeachment, he comes out with a pretty brutally honest take saying, this is going to be a loser.
Yeah.
So Democratic presidential Andrew Yang predicted Wednesday that the impeachment push against Donald Trump is going to be a loser for the Democratic Party. I'm pro No offense, Washington Times Online. I get he says it's going to be a loser. It's in every sentence. I'm pro-impeachment, but this is not going to go well, the VFA founder told Rolling Stone. Not a single Republican has given any indication that they're in fact-finding mode. They're all in defend the president mode. You need literally dozens of Republican senators to switch sides when the trial starts, which we've gotten zero indications going to happen.
Stop it, Andrew.
Mr. Yang said he feared that Mr. Trump could wind up being totally exonerated if the inquiry drags on for too long. That, or the Democrats could end up wasting so much precious time attacking the president, they neglect trying to sway voters ahead of 2020. That is legitimate. That is a real thing. If all that happens is that all the Democrats are talking about impeachment, that fails. Then it seems like there is no vision. Great point. It seems like all we can do is throw ineffective rocks at Donald Trump, and then it ends up leading, unfortunately, towards his re-election. Great point.
Okay, the first
One last
third
thing
of
he
that.
says, last part, he's a creature that thrives on attention, and so the more attention he gets, the better for him, the worst for the Democrats.
Okay, so that last phrase, pure gold. That middle was strategically accurate. That first part is hogwash.
It's not
But
hogwash.
I have a feeling he just said, saying that Republicans aren't in any fact-finding mode.
I think you disagree.
Getz yesterday literally said, does anybody have substantive...
I mean,
he shut them all down.
I agree with you in principle. What I'm saying is the fact it is true. Yes, the senator, there is not going to be Republican senators that will switch sides to, like, that is true. You could argue the first
that's
sentence.
The middle third. When he says not a single Republican is given any indication they're in fact-finding mode, that's stupid.
I hear that.
They've been asking to subpoena people with substantive evidence. I mean, even Professor Jonathan Turley, the #1 constitutional scholar, last night says, we haven't even subpoenaed everybody. You're only choosing, pick. We could talk for about impeachment. Honestly, I find it a very boring topic because it is DOA in the Senate. But I don't know. I think that's just him being political saying that.
Oh no! Well, I mean, like I said, you might disagree with the political stance there, but I agree. There is in every interest of impeachment, there are people that are just partisans dug in who have made up their mind, right? And I would say there's like a scale. There's people that are closer to the center who are more open to switch their minds, and there's people that knew there's people that knew the day Donald Trump got inaugurated what their vote was going to be in this impeachment hearing. You know what I mean? And it hasn't changed. So I definitely agree it's becoming a waste of time. But one thing, getting back into Yang and the impeachment, and again, here's the full answer he's given from the Rolling Stone article. I remember he was on Rachel Maddow a month or two ago when the Democrats finally said we were moving towards it, or the House Democrats that were moving towards an impeachment inquiry, I believe.
Yeah.
And they were out. Anyway, Andrew Yang was on Rachel Maddow, and they basically made him. They said, okay, you're on Rachel Maddow, you're on MSNBC. Are you going to support impeachment now that the House is moving forward with it? And strategically, he followed Nancy Pelosi, Speaker of the House, and said, yes, I am in favor of it now. Now what we are seeing, though, is something we've been seeing across other members of the Democratic Party, is the sense that, we're all seeing it, this is not, put it this way, the way I know government and how slow government moves, even if Donald Trump, murdered a person, right? Murdered...
On Fifth Avenue?
If he murdered Joe Biden on Fifth Avenue,
okay,
I think it would probably be faster and more politically expedient to just elect him out of office in next November than it would be to go through the whole trial, convict him guilty, get it through, formally remove him, decide what's next. I think just winning the election would be quicker.
Are you kidding me?
And
There's so many never-Trumper Republicans that would hop ship and love a chance to get him out the next week.
But there'd also be so many who would say...
If it was on video, I think they could get her done in a week.
Even then, people would be like, well, maybe he had a good reason. Maybe he was unreasonable. Maybe he reasonably feared for his life.
We need a bathroom break. Yeah. We need a 30-day extension. We need a... Yeah.
Maybe it was a life or death. So my point being is, I think the most politically expedient way, because I think something else Andrew Yang gets to a little bit here when he's talking about here, which is the second thing. where he says, if all that happens is the Democrats are talking about impeachment and it fails, it seems like there's no vision.
Because this is hurting him.
But the larger point is...
impeachment is hurting Andrew Yang.
It is because he's an outsider who's not going to be he's not fully in the club on this, but also it is because it's
sucking up all the oxygen in the room. He needs that oxygen to breathe and articulate his ideas, and nobody gets oxygen because impeachment's taking up all the air in the room.
That is what he also mentions here. I think is really interesting and really kind of, I think why we're seeing some Democrats kind of, because when we're seeing the impeachment proceedings go on and on and on and on and on, there's this growing sense of, so what happens if this just drags out for 5 months, right? Like you said, suddenly we're in 2020 and we're still talking about this. If you think you can win, you just win. Because here, ultimately with impeachment, nobody cares if the thing someone is getting tried for is wrong and unfair if you can just turn the public against them. Clearly, it's still divided. I mean, I think the easiest way to know if it's the right time to impeach the president, if there's no opposition to it, then it's the right time. When nobody opposes impeachment, then it's the right time. It's not if we can technically, 'cause here's the thing. If you get him on a technicality, not even technicality, but see, we got him. It doesn't end there. There's no thinking this through to its logical conclusion, which is just the endless retaliation. I mean, I think the best thing for America is to have an election where everyone's voice is heard and not have what feels like legal proceedings. And I think Andrew Yang gets at it a little bit because I think that's what he's talking about more when he says they're all in defend the president mode. You need literally dozens of Republican senators to switch sides when the trial starts, and we've got zero indication that's going to happen. I think he's kind of getting into that because seriously, dude, if you could literally do a partisan hit job and frame the president to get them impeached and removed, but if the public endorses it, it doesn't matter. The fact of the matter is the public hasn't been won over in this debate. There remains large factions on both sides, for and against. Just the impeachment. There's a lot, because remember, here's one thing too. There's a lot of people, I mean, non-zero number, not insignificant, who support impeachment but not removal. So then the battle restarts. I think Andrew Yang would be wise. Also, as someone running for president, he'd rather be elected president, I think, than deal with this. Because also, what happens if the fan fiction comes through, true, and it's President Pelosi? Let's say the dream is real. What happens in 2020? So Pelosi's going to just give up presidency to Andrew Yang? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I definitely think for an outsider candidate, he needs to beat Trump. He does not need to let an impeachment removal process go through and the Democrats decide what they want to do next. Do you hear what I'm saying?
Yeah. If you're trying to say that impeachment is harming opportunities that Andrew Yang has to speak, opportunities that Andrew Yang has to introduce himself to the public, and opportunities that Andrew Yang has to gain votes in the electorate, yeah, I 100% believe it. That's why I think it's stupid of him to even remotely support it. I'm not expecting a Democrat to say, yeah, the Speaker of the House, who is of my party and like one of the most powerful people in Washington, is wrong. I'm not expecting him to lead a charge against Nancy Pelosi. But I lose respect for Andrew Yang when he says stuff like that about Republicans and stuff like that about, they're just in defend the president mode. I gain respect for Andrew Yang when he acts above the partisan fray, which is all impeachment is. All impeachment is like what you called Twitter drama. The only thing that impeachment is Democrat Twitter drama. And I gain respect for Andrew Yang when he says like what he says on The View, where he says, look, Donald Trump does best when we're talking about him. When we're talking about him, he's winning, we're losing. Let's not talk about him. Let's talk about the freedom dividend. Let's talk about democracy dollars. Let's talk about thorium reactors giving us the next best thing from renewable energy, okay? And I'll tell you right now, I don't think the average American generally even understands the difference between the levels of impeachment and inquiry and removal and so on and so forth. But in my adult life, Cody, did you know that I've never not seen a Republican president impeached?
They impeached both Bushes?
The first Bush, they tried to, hated the guy, okay? Ultimately didn't bring articles of impeachment, but I was barely born. Okay, you know what I'm saying?
They impeached
Kucinich brought 35 articles of impeachment against George. I think Trump only got 27.
But here's the thing. Who's,
you know
what
I'm saying?
You want to talk about president history? Who's laughing now? Huh? When was George W? There's people. We were talking before.
Well, but it's just like impeachment is this thing that Democrats do to Republicans just because they hate Republicans.
Well,
all the time.
That's a pretty partisan.
In my adult life.
That's a pretty partisan.
No, it's factual. In my adult life, since I've been able to vote and I've turned 18, every time a Republican wins, within a year or two, Democrats just impeach him. And whether it's BS or not, you just know it's coming. And what that does is it creates the boy who cried wolf syndrome. I think why the American people don't support it is because the Democrats have cried wolf. You can get impeached for anything now.
Yeah. Well, I mean, what's the classic line? You can indict a ham sandwich. I mean, isn't it essentially we're talking about something very similar here? I mean, I don't want to seem too much like a legal ignoramus, but I believe impeaching the president's functionally the same as indicting a president. It's like the same idea. I could be wrong, but I just think it's interesting. And again, I wanted to highlight this. This is the other angle, by the way, of the impeachment process that is not talked about openly enough. It really isn't. Andrew Yang talked about this in November. As someone who's in the field campaigning alongside Senator Klobuchar and Senator Warren, RIP, and Bernie and everyone else. Oh, no, Warren's still in there. Sorry. It would be Harris, RIP, and everyone else. I hate to see half the field disappear to Washington for Senate proceedings, which looks like it really could be the case given the timing. So to me, it's one of the reasons why this impeachment process may not help the Democrats in 2020. Like I said, Yang did once the Democrats move forward with impeachment, like every Democrat running, come around eventually. But I would say, man, he's been a little bit more, hey, I don't want this to be bad for the country kind of guy. Said voters are more focused what we can do to improve the conditions on the ground, what a candidate's vision is for the country, how we can rewrite the rules of 20. Yeah, exactly. You'd be surprised, but Capitol Hill drama and he said, she said, it doesn't matter to people as much as like healthcare and the economy and education and jobs.
But it's a partisan struggle that is hurting Andrew Yang.
Dude, yesterday, we literally had the Republicans bring on their professor to fight the Democrats. It's like my dad can beat up your dad. Professor edition.
No,
like,
Professor Turley's a Democrat.
I know, but he was invited by the Republicans. But my point being is, this is what happens at these hearings. The Republicans invite their witnesses, Democrats invite their witnesses, and it's my dad can beat up your dad, but it's experts instead of dads, and they fight. And here's the thing. I get that it's great for your friend from Harvard to come over and get their 2 hours in C-SPAN or whatever, but dude, this doesn't help Americans. No one cares. It reminds me of like I said, it reminds me of when I'm reading People magazine or Stars magazine and I'm getting into like beef with celebrities, and it's kind of funny for a minute and you kind of go like, but wait a minute, I don't care about these people. It's like, dude, but these politicians, it's not that they could be writing an album I want to hear. They could be like solving the problems our country's facing. You know what I mean? Like, you know, Donald Trump, Andrew Yang always says, I'm going to just solve the problems that got Donald Trump elected if we don't like Donald Trump. Yeah, it's a great sense. If there was real problems that got him elected, maybe you should at the very least as a party begin to address that they exist. What do they say is the first step? Acknowledging you have a problem? I mean, I don't know. I agree that I think this is Andrew Yang finally now that he's the thing. I don't think originally he could just jump and say, yeah, impeachment bad, we can't do it. He had to go. But, and again, he says I am.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with saying, regardless of what you think about him, this is dead in the Senate. Therefore, wasting an ounce of breath on it is useless. There's nothing wrong with saying that. But going into this,
he dunked on Republicans a little bit, and that made you mad.
No, it's not. Oh, I got mad. I'm just saying I lose respect for him, and I think he actually has a lot of inroads to be made. If there are thousands of people registering Democrat just to vote for Andrew Yang, okay, I guarantee you there's thousands of just moderates out there. They're just sick of the partisan hackery. I mean, nobody tried to impeach Obama. They really recognize that in my adult life, there's tons of guys in their 30s and 40s that have seen this hackery go on so much like, I want somebody normal. Wow, this guy said, look, it's a stupid, this is a farce. Let's just not do it. Let's move on and try and tell people why we can win in 2020. And here's why I think I could win. I would respect that guy more than somebody who says, oh, well, I got to make sure I kiss the ring of the dawn. And I say, yeah, we got to impeach Donald Trump. And yeah, Republicans suck. Now, with that said, you know, fine.
I don't know.
Kiss the ring? Is that what you're doing, Andrew?
Not a formal. It's just, dude, like if you're going to run to be the nominee for a party, you have to show the party you at some level agree with them on something. Like
okay, but then you'll lose credibility with people in the middle.
But yeah, that's what do you know about that? You know what?
And the middle is still what elects you.
That's the dangerous thing about primaries. Primaries force you away from the center, and generals force you back to it.
Yeah.
It's one of the reasons why people whose message can attract both people on the center and people on the fringes to win, which, by the way, Andrew Yang does. And like you said, man, those moderates and those independents you spoke of, those are the people that are invisible in polls. They don't show up in polls. They just don't. I mean, because if you're not politically engaged and you get a call from a random number, hi, can I ask you a few questions? Like, no, I don't care. And you hang up. Like, those people don't show up. They don't go, well, yes, I'm a independent voter. I haven't voted since 2008 when I voted for.
I'm low propensity.
When I voted for a Mitt Romney. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it's like or Mitt Romney was the 8 or that McCain 2000. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
My point being is those people are not picking up phones when they get calls from random numbers they don't recognize. You're seeing them not in the poll. So, like I said, I think Andrew Yang is trying to appeal to them. I know, like I said, I know it gets under your skin that he said Republicans are, but I don't know. It's the same thing when you call Democrats do nothing, that Republicans are just defending the president. I don't really care. Plus,
Dude, one of the first channels.
To be frank, right?
Yeah.
You're lying to yourself if you're not going to say there's a few Democrats. If you're Republican, like I said, there's Republicans that could see him literally assassinate someone and be like, maybe his life felt threatened. Maybe, you know, like there's going to be some. I'm not going to say I don't like ascribing an entire party feels that way, but there's probably a few reps that would. It does. There'd be the inverse. There could be a few reps that would
Nancy
be
Pelosi could do that, and there'd be somebody coming. Adam Schiff would say, "Oh no, no, no."
My point exactly. That's how these politicians work, dude. They're all friends. They don't care about us. They care about each
They're
other.
not all friends. I know plenty of politicians that hate each other.
In public, not in private, man. In private, they all friends.
Oh no, that
They're
totally untrue.
Yes, it's because at the end of the day, class and status.
I've literally had politicians tell me I will not go to a meeting if that other representative that's also in our district is going to be present at that meeting.
Okay, but
you know what I'm saying?
I'm sure there's beefs, but I'm saying like it's not like Republicans and Democrats don't hang out. They do.
Oh yeah, no, I agree.
Yeah.
I agree in that.
There's beef.
It's
but
a ruling class where a lot of it is political theater. The difference between the two.
Yeah. So anyway,
next topic. Hit it.
This is this has been a topic of discussion, and I think a lot more news will explode on this in a day or so.
Follow us on Twitter at PSP Radio 1. Give us a voicemail at 1-833-PROBLEM-SOLVER-POLITICS if you want to contribute to the channel. Make sure that you hang out with us on Tuesdays or Thursdays or whenever we do chats or live streams. You can give us some super chats, or you can hit us up on the PayPal link at ProblemSolverPolitics.com or the PayPal link in this description, or you can get a hat, a Problem Solver Politics hat at ProblemSolverPolitics.com. This was a great show. Glad to have you guys with us. This is Problem Solver Politics. We'll see you guys in the next video.